What's up, folks? Psycho Steve here, again reporting live outside Psycho Steve Stadium on a pretty cloudy Tuesday with your Week 9 recap. Here's what went down in Week 9. Our first matchup was a pretty big matchup. We had the 5-3 Team Capado on a 3-game winning streak versus the 5-2-1 Give Her the Woodhead, coming in with 4 wins in a row. Both teams with their winning streaks on the line. One team had to lose this week. We had Team Capado with Drew Brees putting up 18 points, 263 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey with 19 points. Jack Doyle 14 points. And a pretty weak performance for LaShawn Shady McCoy with 2 points, his worst game of the season, which might give way to Give Her the Woodhead to beat Team Capado this week, who had Alex Smith with 263 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception for 17 points. Alshon Jeffrey, 6 receptions, 84 yards, and 2 touchdowns for 26 points. And Jarvis Landry, 6 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown for 15 points. But Matt Forte ran all over the Buffalo Bills, scoring 2 touchdowns, 77 rushing yards, and 4 receptions for 19 yards. Put up a big 24 points, making up for LaShawn McCoy's poor performance, with Team Capado coming out on top 128-124. Team Capado improving their record to 6-3, and Give Her the Woodhead falling to 5-3-1 on the year. In our next matchup, we had the Bohemia Bombers versus Team Pagan. Bohemia Bombers coming off a big win against Travis the Tree Trunk, and Team Pagan coming off a lame "I let my kid win" in Week 8. This could be anybody's matchup. Team Pagan coming in at 3-5, as well as Bohemia Bombers coming in at 3-5. Team Pagan had Matthew Stafford throwing for 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 22 points. A brand new running back in Kenyon Drake, a waiver wire pickup from this week, with 15 points. T.Y. 30 Burger Hilton with his best performance of the season with 34 points. Golden Taint with 18 points, and Terrence Williams with 9 receptions and 141 yards for 23 points. Matt Ryan for the Bohemia Bombers put up a pretty good performance with 313 through the air, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. But the rest of his team looked like the front 9 of my scorecard from this weekend, with scores such as 5, 7, 7, 4, 4, 6, 7, 4, and 5. Sounds like he's shot over par for this one, giving way to Team Pagan. Team Pagan winning 142-65. Team Pagan improving to 4-5 on the year, and Bohemia Bombers falling to 3-6. Next week we have Team Pagan versus Cleats and Cleavage, with Team Pagan looking to improve their record to 5-5 to improve for a true playoff push, versus her daughter, who seems to be the favorite to win it all this year. Let's see if she'll be so nice to let yet another kid win this week. In our third matchup, we have Cleats and Cleavage, the league favorite to win it all. I'm assuming she's winning the whole thing. She comes in at 6-2 versus Travis Tree Trunk, coming in 3-4-1. This was the D Block Showdown. That's right, folks. Division Avenue Showdown. Who was going to win? We had Russell Wilson for Cleats and Cleavage putting up 293 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions for 22 points. Todd Gurley, 23 points. Alvin Kamara the Chipmunk with a big 30 burger, 30 points. Demaryius Thomas, 21 points. DeAndre Hopkins, 20 points. And Jared Cook, 20 points. She also had Robert Woods on the bench with 23 points. This team was made up of 20-point performances throughout the whole freaking game. Travis Treetrunk did not like what he was seeing, but he had Marshawn Beast Mode Lynch put up 57 yards and 2 touchdowns for 19 points, his best game of the year. Doug Baldwin, 7 receptions, 108 yards and a touchdown with 23 points. And Evan Ingram with 4 receptions and 70 yards and a touchdown for 17 points. And Blake Bortles with 16 points, threw for 259 yards and a touchdown. But it looked like it was another nightmare on the D block for Travis Treetrunk, who had a nightmare of falling into another bush outside Cleats and Cleavage's house, with Cleats and Cleavage coming out on top, 184 to 127. Cleats and Cleavage improving their record to 7-2, and Travis the Treetrunk falling into another bush, falling to 3-5-1 on the year. In our fourth matchup, we have the L.I. Golden Taint versus Fire Goodell. L.I. Golden Taint sure was missing Deshaun Watson, who went down to his ACL injury and will be gone for the rest of the year. Coming off a big 210-point performance in Week 8, it was time for L.I. Golden Taint to show his true colors without a star quarterback versus the tied for first place powerhouse Fire Goodell. Cam, the Fig Newton, threw for 137 yards. That's pretty low. But he rushed for 80 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown for 19 points. Ezekiel, the woman beater who keeps on avoiding suspension somehow, scored 15. Jeremy, the Mac Attack Macklin, with 17 points, his best performance of the year. Travis Kelce, 7 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown for 20 points. Jacquees Lee with 8 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown for 21 points. And a pretty poor performance from the Green Bay defense, who put up -1 points, which might have given way for Fire Goodell win. Fire Goodell came out with Dak Prescott, throwing for 249 yards and 3 total touchdowns for 25 points. Michael Thomas, 8 receptions, 65 yards for 14 points. But Kareem Hunt, who is truly hunting for his game, I don't know where it went, but he needs to go find it. He's regressing without a touchdown since Week 3. Fire Goodell had a pretty weak performance from Kareem Hunt with only 9 points, and a very weak performance from the rest of his supporting cast, with Rob Gronkowski on bye and Kelvin Benjamin inactive due to trade to the Buffalo Bills. L.I. Golden Taint comes out on top, 112 to 88, beating the first place Fire Goodell. L.I. Golden Taint improving to 6-3, and Fire Goodell losing 2 in a row now. What is going on with Fire Goodell? Could this be his way out of the playoffs? His team's not looking too good, folks. Keep on beating Fire Goodell. In our fifth matchup, Halloween is over. That's right. WW Slaves actually put in a full roster. There was no ghost players for her this week. And it looked like it was going to be a win versus Team Limp. Team Limp coming in at 6-2, and WW Slaves coming in at 1-7. With Team Limp losing Jordan Reed to injury, Jordan Howard and Adam Thielen both on bye. Both big playmakers for Team Limp. Three big playmakers for Team Limp out for Week 9. Team Limp had Tyrod Taylor with 285 yards passing, the most of the year, with 3 total touchdowns for 26 points. Julio Jones with 6 receptions, 118 yards, and 17 points. WW Slaves came out swinging with Carlos Hyde with 21 points. All day, Adrian Peterson with 15 points. And Marvin Jones Jr. with 7 receptions, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns, with a huge 29 points. This looked like it would be enough to beat the weak Team Limp this week. But the New York Giants got their asses handed to them and she had their defense starting this week. They led up 450 plus yards and 51 points against to the Los Angeles Rams for a big negative 10 points. And the New Orleans defense kept Team Limp alive with 4 sacks, 10 points allowed, fumble recovery, a block kick for a touchdown. And Team Limp safely navigates his way out of Bourbon Street for this win in Week 9, with Team Limp beating WW Slaves by a mere 3 points, 119 to 116. It was a difference of defenses for this matchup. Team Limp improving to 7-2, and WW Slaves falling to 1-8, which she should have won this matchup. On paper, it just didn't work out. And in our last matchup, husband versus wife. You needed a samurai sword to cut through the tension. It was so thick in our house this Sunday. So much frustration. The tension was so high that AJ Green got ejected and Mike Evans got suspended because they just hate each other. These two teams truly hate each other. Suffolk Psycho Steve and Team Mary. It was Team Mary coming in at 0-6-2, and Suffolk Psycho Steve coming in at 3-5. Suffolk Psycho Steve is the lowest scoring team in the league versus the second highest scoring Team Mary. This had to be Team Mary's first win. She had Tom Brady on bye, which was unfortunate, but she got a pretty good waiver wire pickup out of Josh McCown, who put up 140 passing yards with 2 total touchdowns and 16 points. But she only got 15 points from all 3 running backs. Greg the Leg Zwerline, her highest scorer, with 17 points. That's her kicker, folks. And Devin Funches with 13 points. But it looked like Team Mary really funched this one up, with glorious Javorius Buck Allen for Suffolk Psycho Steve scoring 19 points. Ted Ginn Jr. with 15 points. Robbie the Matrix Anderson, Mr. Anderson, with 14 points. And Suffolk Psycho Steve beats Team Mary. That's right, I winced there. Carson Wentz with 4 touchdowns and 23 points. Suffolk Psycho Steve comes out on top 126 to 101, with Suffolk Psycho Steve improving to 4-5. And Team Mary falling to 0-7-2 on the year. Hopefully her first win comes soon. I thought it would have been this week, but it just unlucky for her. Best of luck to everybody in Week 10. Fire Goodell, you're sucking dicks right now. I'm going to beat you and improve my record to 5-5. I'm predicting it now. To improve my playoff push and to make your record fall even further. Good luck to everybody in Week 10. Fuck you, Fire Goodell. Talk to you guys next week.